First of all, Marcus, what's your injury situation?
We seem to be okay. Obviously 1 or 2 knocks and bruises from Tuesday. But as we stand after today's training, it looks like we've got a clean bill of health. Other than Don Vos, pleased to have James Berwick was introduced to his first training session for a while. So yeah, we've got him out now, so it's only Dominic Vos.
Luke Maxwell available this weekend?
Yes, Luke again, like James, first training session today after coming through rehabilitation back at Birmingham. So yeah, had him out on the pitch as well today.
So it'll be a little bit early for them to be involved on Saturday, won't it?
I'm full of surprises, as old Cilla Black used to say. So you never know.
Any players likely to leave now?
Leave? I thought we'd past that, mate. Can we just concentrate on our group? I don't want to talk about anybody leaving anymore now.
Are you likely to make changes for the game, given the state of the pitch maybe Tuesday night and the long journey?
Yeah, you take a lot of factors into consideration, but certainly, like I said, we looked at this week, Saturday, Tuesday to Saturday, and like you said, you've touched on travel, pitches. We changed on Tuesday and we're likely to make changes again for this Saturday. So yeah, I'd expect 1 or 2, but then if we keep the same team, I've got to keep Mr. Evans guessing, haven't I?
So what sort of things go through your mind when you're deciding what to do?
For me, I want to pick a team that ultimately can go out and win a game of football, but I feel now we've got a group now. Obviously with Dom coming back, Dom will add something to us going forward in the attacking areas. But when you look at the group of players, what we've got players who are technically very good now. We've got balance now with Luke coming into the building, a left footer. We've got balance, which I've been striving for. We've got the physicality. So we're getting a group together now, which I feel has got really important ingredients to go out and get results. Ultimately, what we want to do is build a group which has competition and all those ingredients, so we can be successful and get that consistency.
And what different challenges will Mansfield throw at you?
The ball will be on the floor a little bit more, from us certainly. But like you said, their remit, no doubt, is to get promotion this season. So for us, a win on Saturday to go 3 points behind Mansfield will give us a massive boost and obviously make huge inroads into where we want to be. Certainly come the end of the month, and certainly what we're striving to get to come the end of the season.
Steve Evans is a man who tends to polarise opinions, certainly among the fans. Have you come across him much in your career?
I think I've played when he's been. Obviously, I've more of late because obviously he's enjoyed huge success. So obviously, I've seen him through the certain media channels and that. And like you said, a great personality and obviously knows how to bring success to football clubs. So really looking forward to it because I heard this is a nice ground for him. So I've been told about his last visit to the BP. So I'd like to see that again. It'd be quite funny.
For people who can't remember, that was when I think he was evicted from the ground, wasn't he?
Yeah, go on, do it again.
But he's turned Mansfield around. They're scoring a lot of goals. Is it 6 wins, 2 draws from the last 8?
Yeah, like I said, he's got the ingredients and the know-how to bring success to a football club. And like I said, there's a load of factors that go into bringing success to football clubs. And he seems to have those relationships with the board who back him. And obviously his recruitment is very good.
Mansfield, as I say, scoring a lot of goals. A lot of fans asking us to ask you, are you concerned about the lack of goals from your side in the last few games?
Listen, we take it, obviously it was an issue from day one. I've said it was a terrible recipe, and it was a recipe for disaster to rely on one player. He's now gone, so we need to address that. But it was a problem when that certain player was there before, and you're noticing now I'm not mentioning his name anymore.
But because he's gone, does that maybe put more impetus on it that you need more from other players around the team?
Who's gone?
The player you weren't mentioning.
I thought you were going to say his name. No. Yes, of course, it's got to put. Yeah, you're spot on. It's got to put more on us. That's why, if you look at the players we're trying to bring in, you know, they've scored before. They've created. They've been proven. So it's just a case of now bringing those players together, gelling, giving them time. But like you said, yes, it has to be addressed. And ultimately goals win your football matches. So, but there's many ways to score goals, and like you said, it's a group who take responsibility. Can score a goal from restarts, winning the ball back off the opposition, and then obviously you're playing the way you want to play and getting your talented players as close to the goal so they can have major contributions, assists, or goals.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about where you want to be at the end of the season and see where you're at the end of the month. So I'm taking it you still think the playoffs are very much on.
For me, the most important thing is obviously making sure this football club becomes an established football league club again. And that honestly is not just about the players, what are at on that pitch, it's the infrastructure from bridging the gap from academy to first team, facilities. There's so much goes into staffing, there's so much goes into becoming a football league club and becoming established. Now with that, I know we want success, and I know what success means for all of us, which ultimately means promotion out of this league. Now, we're 6 points off playoffs, and there could be possibly come Saturday evening, we could be 3 points off it. And I've said if we're where we are today as we stand 6 points, we can't be any worse off than what we are now. And if we're certainly around it or in it come the end of the month, and that's what we want to strive to and achieve. The business end, which I call March and April, the business end will be really interesting. I think it'll be about 12 games to go. Squeaky bum time. But it won't be for us. We'll be really enjoying it. So I really want to get to the end of this month around it, or certainly love to be in it to have a real good go. And if we get success this year, great. Will it be an overachievement? Oh, a massive overachievement. Will we want to do it next year? Of course, the year after. We've got a strategy in place. What ultimately will bring success. But yes, of course, while we've still got an opportunity, why not? Why not think big?
How difficult has it been for you over the last few weeks to bed these new players in while you're in the middle of games, rather than doing it at the start of the season as you usually do?
Yeah, obviously there's an advantage having the group from the beginning of the season, but I think what you've seen, and especially on Tuesday night, we made 5 changes, and that's testament to the players what they've taken on board to make those changes and to go in and look like they've been playing week in, week out. I said to them this morning, an absolute credit to you as how you've kept yourselves physically fit. And I believe that's the way we conduct our training sessions, but the way they approach training as well and apply themselves. And like I said, what they're taking on board is great. But like you said, of course you would have loved to have had them at the beginning of the season. But like I said, this squad wasn't. We brought these players in not for the here and now and short-term success. It was to have these group which can bring longevity and ultimately success. But they will deliver being an established football league.
Yeah, I was especially thinking of the players that come from part-time and change into full-time during the middle of the season.
I think at the moment, Jamie Osborne looks like he's been a full-time player since he was a kid, if I'm being honest. Sam Jones, he was like a stallion on that pitch, and I know he's just turned full-time with Gateshead. Quasi, there's an adjustment, but like I said, we've brought these players in. They've all got a story to be told, and they're hungry, so they won't use that as an excuse. But obviously, part-time, you need time. But I think they've equipped themselves really well.
And finally, you mentioned contract talks, maybe starting with players towards the end of the season. Have you started those yet? And if so, how they're progressing?
Yeah, we haven't. We've got a meeting with the board this week with next season in mind. So yeah, we want to. I've got to say, you look after your own, produce your own, and add 1 or 2 along the way. We certainly want to look after our own who are in the building now, who are coming to the end. And it's always difficult because in the midst of a season, and you've got to concentrate on that. But we just feel there's one or two who certainly deserve and they're part of our plans. We certainly can see they're part of our plans moving forward.
Are we talking about some of the young players maybe out on loan as well then?
Oh, listen, for me, I'm a big advocate of giving youngsters time, and so is Neil Woods at the academy. You know, I broke into the professional game at 24, so your Josh Vennies, your Harry Cliftons, your Max Wright, they were certainly what we want, and we talked about earlier in terms of becoming an established Football League club again. That 18 to first team, the gap's too big. You know, we've got to bring in this 23 age group, and we've got to give them that time for me, from 18 to 23, and they've got to be looking at that time then to break in. So you've seen the benefits, well, probably the supporters haven't seen the benefits of Harry Clifton going out on loan. He's the talk of that league at the moment, you know, and every manager we speak to, they're telling us in that league we've got a player on our hands. Josh Venny, hand on heart, when I came into the football club, he was the shadow of the player we saw play against us, Solihull Moors, when we played Grimsby in the FA Trophy. Shadow of the player, nowhere near it. I'm glad to say now he's gone and come back and he's getting back to the player, because he was a top draw player when I seen him play against us. He made a mark on that game, and we certainly went away talking about him. And Max Wright is, you know, we'll love it. You know, he's going from strength to strength. So we're giving them boys time. They're going out on loan. They're growing up. They're amongst men. They know what it's like now to play on a Saturday afternoon with 3 points at stake, and then they come into the building and they're in and around the first team as well. So I think that's a perfect situation for a youngster who wants to come through the structure and start to produce our own. It has to be that pathway.
Have you seen some promising signs from the academy players as well?
Yeah, you know, I watched them about 2 weeks ago, and I'm due to watch them before Mansfield on Saturday, if that pitch holds up. So yeah, you know, and obviously we gave young Akeem, you know, his first year pro contract, and there's been a couple who've been training with us, you know, young Cameron and Tom, who've been in and around the first team structure. So yeah, it's going to take time, but we're very much about producing our own players. I love the feeling of producing your own, and if we can, you know, producing your own, we can get them from afar, maybe as far as Birmingham. That's about how it goes. But I know what it means to support us when you have someone locally come through and play for that team, how much it means for fans and that player in general. But we're looking forward to it, but it is going to take time. We won't see the fruitions come bear fruit until 2-3 years time, if I'm being honest, from that academy. Woods is only just come in this season, along with myself, and like we said, we've given him 3 years. Don't know who knows. We've given him 3 years, and we've got to start looking by the end of year 3 that players, and I'm not saying none won't come through in the meantime, but certainly in year 3 we've got to start seeing that, you know, the benefits of what we're putting in at this moment in time.
What do you make of Akeem then?
He's got something, but like I said, we look at the programme, you know, and at the moment the infrastructure isn't there to produce players, you know, and that's my view, and that's Woods' view, and that's the view. So we're, you know, but to be fair to the board, they're listening, and we've got to put things in place, because the infrastructure is not there to produce your own players at the moment. Like I said, the gap's too big. The facilities, where you've seen what they're training on. And like I said, what the model we're kind of going with, your Josh Freddy's, your Harry Cliftons, your Max, that will only aid them, certainly without a shadow of a doubt. But, and again, I look in the week, there's no technical programme. You know, we've got to introduce afternoon sessions. We don't do afternoon sessions here, and the afternoons is not a punishment, it's actually to make players better, to bring in a technical programme. So we're looking at that without a shadow of a doubt. So certainly from next season that will be in place. But like you said, we can't train at the moment. That picture's a write-off this morning. We couldn't even go out this afternoon even if we wanted to. So